I got one. This is bigger.
As another September started, it brought another do-it-yourself adventure for two Iowa Flatlanders to wander the mountains of Colorado in search of elk and mule deer. After coming off a successful elk hunt in 2020 in a new unit, we were excited to see what 2021 had in store. For the past 8 years, we had been traveling to Colorado in search of elk, and with it, we've learned a lot and made a lot of great family memories, as well as filling a few freezers along the way. For 2021, we decided we wanted to change it up a bit. Instead of primarily focusing on elk, we wanted to try our chance at mule deer to experience a true above timberline hunt in search of fuzzy antlered bucks. Although we were primarily focused on mule deer, Trevor also decided to pick up an over-the-counter archery elk tag. This was primarily driven by our summer scouting trip, where we ended up seeing hundreds of elk on a quick 2 to 3 day scouting mission. On the first full day of the hunt, we were glad Trevor had the elk tag, as we ended up spotting multiple elk, with one of them being bedded in a position where we thought we could make a move.
Alright, we came to a new spot, dropped camp, lightened our load, and headed further down the mountain in hopes of finding elk. On our glassed, like 3 mule deer a long ways away. We came down here because we wanted to get to this glassing point. There's an awesome saddle. And I'm walking down, and 20 yards in front of me, a small mule deer buck gets up before I could do anything. So now we're just kind of standing back, and Hunter just spotted a bull bedded in the saddle. So, probably try to make a move or something as well. Shoot her. If she came in, if it was a gimme, she was gonna die. But I probably would have regretted it when we were packing it out. 5 miles.
After the failed attempt at the elk, we continued to search for a basin filled with mule deer bucks. We'd run ridge lines, glassing to see if we could find a buck, and move on if nothing was located. After finding multiple basins filled with other hunters and no bucks, we decided to head back to the truck, resupply, and move to some new areas.
Hey Hunter, I thought it was only like a 2-day expedition.
Look, I know it's bulky, but it's really light and it's just insurance. Insurance.
Once resupplied with the proper essentials, we packed in to our secondary hunt location, where we ended up finding exactly what we came to Colorado for.
Wow, the one's still in velvet. decided to do a little midday elk hunt, and it's nasty in here. We've been walking around doing cow calls, and we thought we heard a cow answer back, and then I did another one, and there was a bugle. It didn't sound like a growler, so we don't know. So we're gonna try again. But we don't think it's hunters because usually hunters don't reply to cow calls, and they don't answer that quick. So I don't know. That's a real. Oh yeah, he's coming too. Hey, do you want to move up and I can take it from here? He's coming. Well, it didn't work out. I thought it was going to for a minute there. We were literally just working around at like 11:08, and I was just doing lost cow songs. I was doing lost cow sounds, not songs.
Take 4.
Take 5. He got him fired up. Sounded like he was close. Sounded like he was coming. That second bugle, and all of a sudden, I mean, he just kept bugling. But the problem was, we couldn't. We kept trying to close the distance, but he seemed to have I don't know if it's just because we moved, but he seemed to have gotten lower, and then we can't get him to bugle at all. We came to a better spot here that we would think that we could pull him up, and we haven't gotten him to bugle in the last probably hour and a half by now. So it is 5:16, and we need to go back up to our glassing point to see what those mule deer are up to. So originally the plan was to come down here and hunt this and check the boxes to make sure there's no elk in here, so then we could camp away from our basin, but there's elk here and we're not sure exactly what we're doing in the next day and a half, because we're running low on water and our food bags are going to be empty for sure by tomorrow night. I mean, unless you rationed, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So we're gonna make what is it? I think it's like 400 foot. It's not that bad, but it's only 500 yards from here, so we'll get going. You can see the balls on them.
At this point is where the acts of desperation really started to kick in. We had been running ridge lines and had been finding absolutely no water. At this point, we had been rationing water for a day and a half, and both Hunter and I were really hurting with only, I kid you not, probably 4 ounces for each of us in order to potentially find water or pack out the next day. So after skipping dinner because we didn't want to waste any water on a dehydrated meal, we contemplated what we were going to do for the morning, as we had located all the bucks we came here for, but the problem was there was no water for 2 to 3 mile radius that we could find without blowing any basins up. So with time running out and water on empty, we decided that we were going to pack back to the truck, go back down, try to find water, and then come up from a different area, hunting elk on our way up, but potentially making it to our mule deer basin in hopes of getting one last shot at these mule deer bucks.
think in the end we don't kill him. Alright, so we've been hiking all morning. I'm being serious though about the deja vu thing.
Yeah.
I wish I had a time machine to go back to the start. But we were up top and we're working the other side. And we crossed over the saddle into this side. And 2 days ago, I think it was, when we were up in the Mule Deer Basin, we were working a bull down here. And we were up there and I just decided to bugle. And that bull this morning didn't run away from the bugle. He seemed to be coming towards the bugle and the cow calls. So I bugled, and instantly I thought I heard something really faint. And Hunter didn't hear it. So then once I don't have confirmation, I start thinking that my head is making up things because it happens to me. Because I'm crazy. Anyway, so we start working down, and I do one more bugle, and no response. I think 2 more bugles at least. Maybe, no, 2 different spots. I bugled a couple different times. And finally, we got to another spot. I bugled, and nothing. And we're in this wide open meadow. It's like not, like, it was like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Hot in the sun. Elk, especially in pressured units, do not go in meadows unless it's dark. So I'm like, okay, so I call, nothing happens, and I was just gonna sit down because my feet were killing me. So I looked at the meadow quick, I sat down, I looked up, there's a bull standing there 70 yards. And so then, by that time, I was sitting on my butt, and turned my head cam on, and got some footage. The bull, I think he saw me sit down, he got nervous, he went down. We made a circus commotion, got super aggressive. He came back up to the same opening, but the problem was he would not turn broadside. Like, he was facing away and looking over his shoulder. And so you can see it in the footage. I drew on him and I just couldn't get a shot. So once he went down, I just followed him. I got so aggressive, and Hunter got aggressive, and we just kept going after him. And eventually we saw him again, and this time I think he caught my movement in the sun, trying to peek through trees to range him because I saw his antlers. And I didn't get any footage of that. I double hit the record button, and I thought he was going to wrap up the hill and get a shot, and he actually just kept kind of going away. And so then we lost him, and then it sounded like there was another elk below us, and so we stood up trying to figure out how to get a shot at whatever this is. Couldn't. So long story short, the bull went down here, and he's been bugling off and on. And so we kind of been giving him some time because we don't want to just keep pushing him out, but he's still bugling. So I think our plan is we're going to wrap around this, and we're going to try to get on a different level from him so then he thinks it's a different elk. And I think he had cows. We think he had cows. So at the very least, we think we separated him from his cows. So that could work out to our advantage. So, circus commotion. Hopefully we can get it done.
After wrapping around the elk and getting on the same level, we set up to do some calling sequences, and as the bull bugled, Trevor kept pushing closer and closer to the herd in hopes that he would break the bull free and potential to get a shot.
Hunter did his part. I snuck in as the bull was bugling and got to this point, and I saw stuff moving, and eventually the bull bugled really close, which was sweet. And then I saw elk coming up this way, 2 elk coming up this way, and I had pre-ranged everything to make sure that I wasn't fiddling with my rangefinder when the bull was coming in. And I knew it was going to be a close quarter shot because I had pre-ranged everything. And so the bull ended up working behind a cow, and the cow passed through, and as the cow passed through, I drew. So that way I was ready for him, and I got anchored in, and then he hit the lane, and I tried stopping him. I'm not sure if he stopped him. I got head cam footage, but it was not the greatest. And I shot, he was slightly quartering to, so I put it right behind what I thought was right behind the knuckle, because I didn't want to hit the knuckle. And it was low, and we rearranged it, and I shot it for 20, and it's actually 35. I think I held too low. It hit him. We found blood, but we don't want to get our hopes up because we think it's just a brisket shot. So,
Because we heard bugling.
yeah, because we ended up bugling again, and we heard more bugling down there. And
I still don't understand why some bugles sound better than others.
I know.
Maybe there is 2, I don't know.
And I didn't know if there was 2 or not, because there was 3 elk that I knew of. I think there was a lot more. The cow came up, he came up, and then there was one down there that I never saw, and I thought that one was the bull when I first heard it. But I don't know. We're gonna go check for blood. We found blood, but where he stood. But we're gonna try to do a little bit more due diligence, see if.
Because the arrow looks bad.
Yeah, because the arrow, which I don't have, there's like barely any blood on it. So, yeah, it's fine.
After recovering the arrow and following blood, Trevor's worst nightmare came to a reality. We ended up following the bull for well over half a mile, finding good blood to eventually fizzling out. And after running out of light and blood, we decided that we were going to give up for the night, and Trevor was going to return in the morning in hopes of tracking the bull a little bit longer while Hunter would glass the basin for mule deer bucks.
Well, definitely a crazy morning so far. Last night we blood trailed that bull for probably a little over half mile, which is a lot further than we thought we'd get based off of the blood on the arrow. And eventually we lost it, and we just didn't think it was a fatal hit. So this morning, or actually last night still, we hiked up about 600 feet up to our mule deer glassing knob. Tried to get one more play on these mule deer, see if they're in this basin. Woke up this morning, at first light. I got out of the tent, instantly found the mule deer, like visible from the tent. And it's the original group plus one small one, I think. I'm trying to keep an eye on these mule deer, so. Mule deer are feeding. Hopefully they'll bed down soon. But they've got some bighorn sheep up above them. And what we've noticed is the mule deer hate the bighorn sheep, so they'll probably be spooked out of here.
After the failed second attempt at locating the bull, Trevor packed back to camp and returned elkless, where Hunter was devising a plan to put a stock on one of these bucks. After a brief strategy discussion, we had the route planned and Hunter went in to make a move.
So, I'm on the glassing knob. The buck is still bedded, and he's facing the opposite direction now, which I think is good. Hunter's up there somewhere. He just went over a rise, so I can't see him anymore. So hopefully this works out. It's hot. You can't even see me, but it's hot on this glassing knob, directly in the sun. Warm day. Alright, it's probably hard to tell, but you can see Hunter behind that bush, and then the buck is right in there. I'll put it down on the screen. So,
Hunter is not that far, but the buck is facing his direction, unfortunately. Well, Hunter's so close to this buck, but I think he's bailing on this buck and trying to shoot a different buck. He's angling a different direction.
Well, I'm not sure if Hunter knows it yet, but I'm pretty sure he's got a dead buck because I think he shot twice, maybe 3 times. And the final time was like a frontal shot. He cut it off and I saw it go down, but I don't think he saw it go down. So I'm gonna go down there, got the frame pack. It's gonna be heavy trip out, I'm guessing.
Well, here he is. We were aiming for forkies and just trying to get experience stalking and trying to figure out where these things live. So I'd say this is a success, last day success. We drug him up here to a pretty scenic spot for pictures, which when you're in the high country isn't really hard to find. So pretty incredible feeling, and we have some work ahead. We'll break him down. We got, what, 3 miles back to the truck maybe? 4? I don't know. We gotta go up over this ridge then down, but that'll pretty much wrap up this hunt. Definitely more than I could even ask for. Just a stud. He's got these stickers and he's got great brows for a mule deer.
They call them eye guards, I think.
Oh yeah, eye guards out west. He's got a bunch of these stickers, and we glassed this one a couple days ago. I saw this one rubbing all morning, just tearing trees up, which explains why he's got no velvet, but at least we don't have to worry about dinging it up on the way out in the jungle down there. So anyway, what a hunt. I mean, just incredible action. The first several days were kind of slow trying to find a mule deer, but we stuck to the plan and we finally found some, and we were also able to get an opportunity at an elk. So you really can't ask for anything more on a week-long hunt. Just 2 Iowa boys hoofing it out here. So hope you enjoyed it. I don't know how these videos will turn out, but thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all in the next one. I'm sure we'll be back out here next year.
Well, guys, as you can tell, we ended up having a great hunt in Colorado. Hunter ended up shooting a really awesome buck, way bigger than we could have ever asked for. We were actually going out there to just shoot forkies, so ended up having a great adventure. And Hunter jokes about it to this day. You know, he went in to stalk that buck, the original 3x3, and during the stalk, he ended up spotting the buck that he ended up shooting, but he ended up working below it. So I'm not sure how the buck let him do that, but he ended up getting a shot on him. The shot at 40, the first shot, hit perfectly, but he says to this day he kind of went full panic mode, and he could see where the buck was running to, so he tried to get in front of it again. And when he did, he ended up getting another frontal shot on the buck. So he ended up just speeding up the process a little bit, and overall it was a really great hunt. It was cool from my point of view just to kind of watch that perspective of it all kind of go down, like being a fly on the wall. And I also wanted to take this time to kind of go over and get ahead of the comments that are going to transpire in the comment section below about the bull. I just know how YouTube works and all the keyboard warriors who've never even drawn their bow in that situation. Overall, I think what happened was it was the 4th or 5th setup while I was working in. Hunter was keeping the bull bugling. I had set up a few times, range spots, and then I think I just, one, got confused at the range, and two, I also think there could have been a misrange that had occurred. And for some reason in my mind, I thought the bull was at 16 yards. To this day, it's just clear as day. When that cow came through and I knew the bull was coming, I really thought that they were at 16 yards. And so in the video, it ended up being like 35 yard shot, unfortunately. And so I shot it for 20, but I also held just slightly low, which in reality I really shouldn't have in the first place. So that took me from shooting it to 16 to being a 30 to 35 yard shot, which didn't end well. But I think I ended up hitting the elk just like square in the leg bone, and that's kind of why it deflected. We didn't obviously get any blood. So overall, it was unfortunate, but I never found that bull. Ended up losing blood at dark, and then when I went back the next morning, where we left off is kind of where the blood stopped. So unfortunate that occurred, but you know, it happens, right? I mean, things happen really fast. In my head, I thought when the bull came through the opening that he had stopped fully after I mewed. And in reality, watching the video, right, things happen so much faster in real life than they do in your head. And in the heat of the moment, things are like slowed down to a magnification, right? And so in reality, when I mewed, I shot at the same time because I think there's two things going through my head. One of them was saying, you got to shoot. The bull's going to go through your opening so fast that if he doesn't stop and you don't shoot as you mew, he's going to pass through and you're not going to get a shot. The second thing was, if he does stop, he could bust. And at that point, you're not going to have a shot. So whatever transpired. Didn't end up recovering the bull. If at the end of the day I would have killed that bull, it would have been a hero, right? I could have said, yep, it all worked out perfectly. But because I didn't recover the bull, it just was a very hard learning experience. But overall, I would say, you know, it was a good learning opportunity. I've been, you know, replaying that event over and over and over in my head for the last 300 plus days of the year after the event occurred. And so now looking forward, we actually leave here in a few days for 2022 hunt. I've got an elk tag. Hunter has a mule deer tag. So I'm really hoping for redemption. And I know Hunter's really, really hoping that we come home with a bull, but he's definitely excited to try to get another mule deer buck under his belt. So with that, hopefully the video came out good. Drop a comment in the comments box below if you guys liked it, and we'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.